thank you so much for inviting us to give this proposal. We really appreciate it. And in the interest of time, I'm going to go ahead and dive right in. So we are proposing the use of canines to tackle this problem. And the team that we have assembled includes members from the International Forensic Research Institute as well as IDC. And basically, this team consists of Dr. Kenneth Furton, who is the founding director of IFRI. He's our provost at FIU. He's a forensic chemist. And more notably, in addition to his 35 years of experience working with canines and scent detection, he is the chair of a number of the most prominent committees involved in setting the standards for canine detection work. Next up, we have Dr. Deata Mills, who is my mentor and the current director of IFRI, as well as the deputy director of the Global Forensics and Justice Center. She has numerous years of experience in molecular biology, tools and science, as well as non-human and human DNA analysis. She was also the lead PI on our project in Florida using AgriDogs that I'll tell you a bit about in a second. Next up, we have the IDC team, which is consisting of Colonel John Mills, a retired US Army veteran and engineer, who is the founder of IDC, the CEO and president. And in addition to numerous civilian achievements working with the Army, he's also actively participating and has the management skills in a lot of startup companies and business aspect of things. And lastly, with IDC, we have Lourdes Edlin, who is our senior trainer and handler for canines. She has extensive experience in animal behavior and training and couldn't be here today because she's actually on duty with Purina and the Incredible Dog Challenge, to which she's a judge and advisor and the lead trainer there as well. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention our key player in Hilo on the ground in Hawaii, which is Dr. Kelo Akini with the Institute of Pacific Islands Forestry. And he actually is our main supporter on the island there. And you'll hear from him a bit later, I believe, on a pitch that builds upon this one. So what is the problem? We all know what this challenge is about, but I put this background picture here to show you that you have a wide range of, just look at the colors that you see, ranging from green to brown to completely devoid of leaves and dead. And what I wanted to point out here was that at any given stage when you can see something might be wrong with a tree, it's already too late. That tree is likely already dead or going to die, and chances are it's now a reservoir for the fungus that will spread to other trees. So this is taken directly from the solicitation, this quote here, but that's why we need a field-based detection at the asymptomatic stage. That's critical. So just to tell you a bit about where we are coming from, there was a similar disease in Florida, there still is, laurel wilt disease that has decimated our wild forests, leading over 500 million laurel trees have died. And in Florida, in the avocado industry, about 30% of our industry has been wiped out. Now, what I want to point out here is that this disease is a fungal pathogen, just like in the system with rod, that basically gets into the xylem vessels of the tree, results in a water shutdown of that vascular system, and the tree wilts and dies. And it's the exact same etiology that we see in rod that we do with what we're used to with laurel wilt disease. So our solution, as you can imagine that you've gathered by now, is to use scent discriminating canines. And the reason that canines are so well suited for this job is that they have a sensitivity that is 100,000 times more sensitive than the human olfactory system. They have an evolutionary advantage and so well developed olfactory system that enables them to actually detect such low quantities of scent, which makes them ideal for this kind of work. So next up, I wanted to show you, or basically our demos page, and with this, you'll see two videos playing here. And on the left-hand side, you'll see Cobra working in avocado grove. Cobra is our top dog. So she's working in avocado grove, looking for trees at the asymptomatic stage. And in the middle, this was actually done at Kalopa State Park, which many of you may be familiar with, where we did a feasibility study in Hawaii and demonstrated whether or not we could actually do this work with rod. And after a few days of training, Cobra took off in this park and actually identified this tree that was previously confirmed with DNA to have ceratocystis and was also chopped down the week before we got there. So that was just a demonstration that this can really work. And then on the left, wrapping up the end of this video, you'll see Cobra actually alerting to an asymptomatic tree, and she's just waiting for her toy, her reward for doing this. And it's really not a job or work. It's really fun for them. And you can see that this tree has no visible signs. It looks perfectly healthy, but it is in fact infected. So to sum up our solution, it's a proactive management strategy. If you can detect at that early asymptomatic stage, then we have an opportunity window to actually treat these trees and do something better with the management of our forests in Hawaii. So what do we bring to the table, and why do I believe this team is so well placed to do this job? In addition to doing such a similar disease system of over 5 years with our program in Florida, this team has the science to back up the detection with the chemistry, the volatile organic compounds, the molecular biology tools, as well as the animal behavior. This team is really well placed. I have to mention that a canine unit for Hawaii makes a lot of sense because we are able to actually use that as a force multiplier. Canines can actually be trained on multiple odors. So this will be a team now that would be primed to tackle future risks in Hawaii as well. And I want to mention as well that we are the only team that's really applied all of these techniques, assembled such a diverse team to tackle this in a system that's just so similar to what's happening in ROD right now. And we have proven deployments that have done this for a number of years to show we're ready to go and can actually complete this work. In terms of challenges that we may face during this project, we know that there may be legal issues in terms of entry to private land, and certain permits may need to be given. We know that this is a biological detector. The dogs are living things, so injury and sickness are possibilities. The terrain in the forests and the mountains there can be treacherous, and that's a safety concern, as well as working with infected samples for training could be another concern. And we have plans in place to mitigate for all of these issues that we would be happy to share with you during the question and answer phase as well. So in terms of our traction and why we believe that we have this capability ready to go right now, as I've mentioned a couple of times, we have about 5 years of experience now with the AgriDog program for laurel wilt disease, and it's ongoing. We also back it up by having the ability to do the chemistry behind it to identify what the dogs are actually alerting to and use that for training. We have 4 peer-reviewed publications that came out of this work that we've been doing. And in addition, we've already actually visited Hawaii and met with the people on the ground and actually completed a study to demonstrate that we can detect ROD on the ground already. So in terms of our deployment strategy and what we need to get this done, I mean, we anticipate 3 main stages: the procurement of canines, the training of canines, and the installation and deployment, meaning getting the canines in the hands of the agencies to actually do the deployments and the work. And we anticipate that would take about 6 to 8 months. However, I want to mention that routine proficiency training and keeping up to date is something to make a dog field proficient rather than just odor proficient at the stage of deployment and installation. So it's a continuous process that goes on a regular basis, even after that installation. And we propose to offer that hands-on support and training during that entire process. And then there's also a scalability potential here with citizen science. And we believe that because ROD is such a culturally important tree, its importance cannot be overstated at all. That we believe that training citizens and their dogs to assist in a nationwide network of detection can actually prove to increase that sustainability of this project. So we actually are ready to go, and our biggest need right now is the procurement of dogs, what we need to get the training started. And this challenge would really allow us to jumpstart that. One of the things that we've been in talks with IPIF and other members on the ground, negotiating partnerships, but it just hasn't materialized yet. We haven't received that funding that we need to actually get the dogs and begin the training process. And we hope to leverage that partnership that we have and the support we have on the ground with the agencies in Hawaii to actually make sure that this is a success. And we believe that would be of utmost importance as well. So with that, I'd like to say mahalo and thank you so much for hearing us out. And we'd be happy to take any questions that you may have and elaborate on the presentation.
Wonderful. Thank you, Julian. And thank you again for your efforts here in applying for the prize, and we really appreciate all of this. Are there any judges out there with any questions immediately?
This is David. I have a question.
Go ahead.
Could you briefly give us an idea of the cost per dog to acquire and for initial training?
Yes, so we would like to get 2 dogs for this program initially, 1 large and 1 small. And that is because of the considerations. I've actually been out there and visited the terrain and seen what it's like to navigate this terrain. So I believe that the benefit of having the different size dogs is important. And the cost would be about $40,000 to procure a dog bred for detection, which is ideal. I mean, we can get dogs that are donated and evaluate them to see if they can do the work. But it is the best chance at success is getting dogs that are bred for this kind of work. So they do come with a cost, and we estimate 2 dogs about $40,000. And Dr. Mills and John can also speak to that as well. They're members of my team. They can elaborate if I'm off on that.
No, that includes the procurement and the training.
Right.
That 40,000 is not just the procurement of the dog.
Understood. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I have another question here. Do you have any estimates on how much area could be covered in a day by a dog and the handler over 1 working day?
Yeah, so the dogs basically work in a number of ways. So they're air scent to look for those odors and pinpoint direction and move through. And in an avocado grove, what we're used to, it's a lot different than the terrain that we would encounter in Hawaii. So even for a person navigating an area, it becomes a challenge. So we can't really estimate the coverage, I think, but we can say that it would be about the same that it would take for a human to navigate an area, because we would sometimes have to transport the dogs into the area that we need to search for the safety purposes and then have them deploy. But the canines can actually cover a wide range in an alert based on odors that may be a long distance away as well. And if, again, anybody on the team, John or Dr. Mills, would like to contribute to that.
Yeah, this is John Mills, and here we're doing 25 to 30 acres in the heat of the day. If we're really stretching it, we can get out to 50 acres using a 2-dog team and giving them rest periods.
Any other questions from the judges? Out of curiosity, Julian, how many dogs are you currently running in Florida?
So in our program, we had 3 that we initially got for the project, and those 3 have been trained and proficient and certified in Laurel wilt disease. We had an additional, 3 or 4 dogs that we've also trained on that odor, but our program also extends to other invasive species as well. We have a couple of dogs that are trained on the tegu lizard in Florida as well. But I think it's about 7 dogs that are capable of training, but 3 that are field proficient and routinely deployed.
And is it feasible to train citizens to be handlers?
They would have to be highly motivated. It's always a question of what the benefit to them as well, and their motivation to do the work. Now, in terms of this particular situation, my experience that I've seen from the people that we've met on the ground is that Ohia is just so incredibly important to the people that I do believe we can find a few motivated individuals that would fit in this program and successfully participate and complete it. And that's, I mean, that's just my experience from talking to people and meeting and seeing how important it is culturally, even so more so than the ecological aspect of it. But I do believe that it is possible.
Very good. All right. Well, I think we are at time. Thank you again. Really appreciate your efforts here, Julian. And we will be in contact soon. I'll ask you to drop off the line now. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you. Mahalo.
Thank you.
Mahalo.